Do you know like what kind of weapons they were using?
We had a range. We definitely didn't use metal.
The villain's like, I got you. I don't got you anymore. If you don't think you're gonna kill him, then I definitely don't think you're gonna kill him. Thus, I don't care.
That was done for real. That was 3 people falling off the roof, and that was so rehearsed.
Sword is choking him, he's throwing his shield at him. Like, you're like, that guy is trying to kill that other guy, and if that guy's not careful, he's gonna die. That's a performance that I believe 1000%.
We're in a trench, and then squish it with a lot of people.
So it's very hot.
Very hot. Oh, it was so gross.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, tell it.
It was so hot that...
My name is Omar Zaki.
I'm Brett Metter.
And today we are joined by a super special guest and good friend, Bronte Coluccio, who is a stuntwoman from New Zealand, living in the US, and who worked on Rings of Power. Can you tell us a little bit about your time on Rings of Power and just anything else about you?
So on Rings of Power, I was actually an Orc. So I was a stunt Orc.
Which is just like the Orc. It's just like a fancy Orc.
It's a fancy way of saying Orc, but you know, we were taught how to say it properly. I was on it for 7 months in the same prosthetic costume for a very long time. A couple of the other jobs I did prior to that was Avatar Way of Water, stunt doubling on that for Edie Falco, as well as Sweet Tooth Season 1, Ash vs Evil Dead Season 2 and 3, and a couple of other shows.
Just a couple of things. Bronte obviously has this exclusive look into Rings of Power, and we're gonna be comparing it to my favorite thing of all time, which is Lord of the Rings. We're just gonna be comparing the action and the stunts from Lord of the Rings to Rings of Power and just gonna see what happens. I've got my thoughts and I'm curious to hear their thoughts and then yours as well. So without further ado, let's get started. I think the funny thing about this scene is she was like, oh, the first person who can score like flesh, I'll promote. But they're like trying to cut her head off. Like if any of these hits landed, she would be dead.
These 2 guys are absolutely fantastic. They were so much fun to work with. Most of this is them. They trained so hard. There was so many hours put into actor training for the actor. That's
good. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
What I love about this is that multiple people are actually attacking at the same time.
And the others are doing the good, like, to fill the space. Like that guy coming in right there, like by the time we see him, she's already got the blade like right there on his neck.
Too often you see in films, like they literally just stand on the outside and wait for someone to attack.
And it's
They're
very
like,
obvious.
Who's gonna go?
Yeah.
And they're just killing time standing at the back.
The stuntman shuffle.
Yes.
They're holding these poses a little long, like where they're like, look at the shapes we're making. But it's still overall, I think it's okay. I think that fight is meant to show her skill and her grace. And I think it does that effectively. She doesn't embarrass them so bad that they don't look skilled.
I saw them rehearsing this fight. I wasn't there on the day because I was an Orc, so not in the scene, obviously.
There wasn't an Orc just like in the background
no.
with binoculars watching the fight.
They really played it for the character moments and not to showcase the amazing scene.
Do you know like what kind of weapons they were using? Like what material they were made of?
We had a range. We definitely didn't use metal. Most of them were actually just like plastic with rubber on the outside.
Oh wow.
You know,
and then just like painted
like safety,
really well.
Yeah.
What I love about this is you can see his aggression. Every second, you believe that Lurtz is trying to kill Aragorn, every single second. So we're gonna compare it to the next fight in Rings of Power, which is another one-on-one with a big Orc.
Pretty gangster move, pulling yourself in on the sword. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that in a few times, and every one of them makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Usually what happens in a movie is someone gets stabbed and it's like, oh, I've been stabbed. Oh, I'm now dying or dead.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time I'd ever seen someone be like, okay, cool, let's go. Now it's more common, I've definitely seen it a bunch, but I do remember how visceral that was in the moment.
Shocking it is just to be like, oh, he's not dead.
So that fight overall, yes, it has, like what you said, it's got a lot of cuts and a lot of repeat moments, but what I think that fight does really well is it shows incredible aggression and just like survival.
Story.
Like
Yeah.
Aragorn fighting for survival and Lurtz fighting to murder. And the emotion is communicated really, really well.
A lot of intensity in that fight.
Yeah. That's a performance that I believe 1000% every single time that I watch it. And now I want to compare it to this one-on-one between Arondir, the elf, versus the big orc.
That was done for real. That was 3 people falling off the roof at the same
real.
time. And that was so rehearsed.
So you were there while they were doing this?
I was there rehearsing. So while they were rehearsing this gag, we're actually practicing the rest of the battle that's going on.
Wait, you're practicing the battle? Don't you just
Secrets.
go to war? Ah!
Yeah, no. Someone would legitimately
Die,
die.
right? So this fight is along the lines of a one take. They do a lot of match cuts here between the stunt performer and the actor. This is our first match cut right here. Stunt performer, boom, and that wipe right there. Because the first time I saw this, I was like, oh wait, did the actor do that? And I was like, no, there's no way.
no.
There's no way. There's got to be a match cut somewhere. And again, match cut right there. The camera just pushes it and then pulls out. So already this is completely different from the Aragorn Lurtz fight because they're not cutting. They're just not cutting. There's another match cut right there.
Yeah, there's nowhere near as many inserts and things.
It's just completely different style of like filming the action too.
Where's the match right there? We have the actor right there, and now it's a stunt guy for the throw. Like so slick, and then again, and then the camera goes behind, and there's the actor again. Like, what great cuts are these?
You can easily just get lost in it. You can
Yeah.
just be along for the ride and just be enjoying the fight and wow, this is cool. And then you completely forget, wait, double actor, double actor, double actor. Like, oh my gosh, like this is so much more work than people realize it was.
All of those match cuts are really, really cool. Have you guys seen the last Airbender movie? Is this a yes?
No.
Okay, if you've seen the last
No
Airbender movie, which was based off of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Nickelodeon kids show, they never cut in that movie. The action scenes were really long. You are getting worse performances because you're choosing not to cut. There is such a fine balance, I believe, this is all my opinion, that you have to weigh when you're trying to do a long one take. What are you really trying to do, and is it better? Are you getting more bang for your buck? Are you saving money? Are you saving time? Or are you getting a better product based on what you're doing? You can feel that they're waiting for the things, that they're setting up the moments, that they're waiting for the match cuts. The whole thing feels slow. And because the camera work has to be so precise, because they're matching shot to shot, they're kind of locked into pretty basic camera move.
The techniques that they're using in this style of shooting are harder and more difficult, but
you're getting less from it.
it doesn't feel as fast as whereas like the inserts of seeing the panic and the stuff.
It's huge. It's huge.
See, I feel like probably the time when he was like standing up from the ground and that wipe, I'm like, that was a good wipe.
Yeah.
But then it was just kind of excessive use from there, where if you're wiping like in the middle of something that's meant to have major impact, then it's like, well.
Yeah. Some of the choreography in there is really cool, but contradictory. The orc picks him up and he throws him, and then he goes and he gets him, and then he picks him up and he throws him again. So it's like, what are you trying to do here? Because like Lurtz, when he's fighting Aragorn, like every second he's full on swinging his sword, he's choking him, he's throwing his shield at him. Like you're like, that guy is trying to kill that other guy, and if that guy's not careful, he's gonna die. But like, I don't fear for a hero when the villain's like, I gotcha. I don't got you anymore. If you don't think you're gonna kill him, then I definitely don't think you're gonna kill him. Thus, I don't care. Just the way that it impacts me, it feels completely disjointed. Hey guys, taking a super quick break from that reaction video to propose to you an alternative. An alternative to what, you might say? And to that I say, eating. Well, not eating. You should definitely still eat, but an alternative to how you do it. With this week's video sponsor, Factor 75. Factor 75 is an incredible meal delivery service that I am currently using, and I did not know that you could get pre-prepped meal delivered food that was this delicious, healthy, and cheap. No going to the grocery store. There's no prepping the food, cooking, cleaning. Cheaper than eating out. It's cheaper than ordering delivery. And for me, I'm doing so many different things, as I imagine a lot of you are, that not having to think about food is such a relief. Right now, they are offering a 50% off on their meal boxes. So if you want to learn more about Factor 75 and maybe try it for yourself, you can click the link in the description. But now that I've got my food, let's get back to the react.
Okay, this scene makes me sad already.
Yes, Bronte, how long were you in this trench for?
Too long. I lived in this trench for like 2 months.
2 months. Is that you? Are you the Warg? Is that you?
No.
Is that your
the
prosthetic?
whole fight scene was before the Warg, and it is cut. It did not make it.
This part's a little interesting. Sideswipe! Sideswipe over the Warg!
And the kid and the war just catapulted somehow into that.
This is cool. I actually really like this. He's like, he sees it, he's like, oh God, gotcha! Boom!
Yeah, that was good, like on the fly.
That was good setup. That was
freaking-
good setup. Bronte, tell us about the fight scene that definitely didn't happen in that trench.
Look, I'm going to start by
Look, there was so much in that look.
we filmed that in summer. It was extremely hot. I would say the temperature in Celsius, but most of you...
Just say it.
was,
I can
it was
translate.
like going up around 30 degrees Celsius. So
Fair
the
enough.
orcs are in full prosthetics, and on top of that costume, and then these capes. And then obviously we're in like a trench, which is then covered and insulated, and then squish it with a lot of people.
So it's very hot.
Very hot. Like to the, oh, it was so gross. Disgusting, disgusting.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, tell it.
It was so hot that basically silicone does not breathe, and so the fluid stays in the silicone, so you can drain it. All the stunt performers after fighting could open up their sleeves,
Oh God.
drain the sweat because it had
Oh my
nowhere else to go.
Not as not as glamorous. Yeah.
Stunts is not
Not
glamorous.
as glamorous as one would hope.
No, not at all.
There's a moment when he does this, like the side swipe over the Warg. That moment. So I actually have a really big problem with the evolution of elves from Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit and now Rings of Power.
Suddenly they're superheroes?
They're superheroes now. That's exactly what it is.
They're broken. They're like breaking gravity.
It's just in that moment that feels like a very forced moment.
Whereas this is where I think everything got lost in the edit, because maybe if the fight and all the build-up that was designed had happened prior, this might have made more sense.
Right.
Because then all of a sudden it's just come out of nowhere. There's been no battle, there's been no build-up. It's just like,
a-
oh, someone's flying.
It's a wired,
Like-
assisted side swipe. Yeah. What made, and we'll look at more of it in a little bit, but what made Lord of the Rings special to me is even as I go back and look at it now as a professional stunt performer, it doesn't look choreographed. None of it looks choreographed. It looks like people are fighting
Messy
for
and-
their
yeah,
lives. It looks messy. It looks...
It's because they are.
A lot of the action was quote-unquote real.
His method would be to say to the stunt guys, how many of you are coming towards me? And they'd say, 6. And he'd say, okay, who's first? And they'd say, and the guy would go, I'm first. And he'd go, okay, you come at me and I'll hit you with my axe. And then you come and I'll hit you and you come and he would just take these guys out.
The problem with that, the side swipe over it, is it just feels like a very choreographed move. You go, cool, there's no way somebody did that spontaneously. Like, that's choreography. That's choreography. Yeah. Now let's look at the Warg scene from Lord of the Rings and see how it compares. I think a lot of the fear from Lord of the Rings comes from the fact that like Peter Jackson he was a horror movie director before he did Lord of the Rings. Like there's a lot of moments throughout the movies that like made me legitimately scared when I was younger.
Now I watch it with a totally different eye.
A full CG army versus a full real army. Like
Which a bunch of ratchets off of horses.
yeah, but it's just like it looks chaotic. Wait, like it doesn't look choreographed.
I'm gonna be honest, half the horse stuff is not choreographed. Some is, like the big gags.
You mean in Lord of the Rings or in...
I'm in Lord of the Rings and in Rings of Power. So the main stunts are choreographed. The main stunts are practiced with cast, rehearsed. But all of the stuff that you see behind the main action is probably made up on the day.
Sure.
So most of it you get to set and they're like, this is where we're gonna be, this is what we're gonna see. The main gag, the main stunt is gonna be here, and this is what we wanna see of the actor. So we want a horse there, a horse there, we want that many people over there, that many people over there. We are rolling, hope you got something.
No way.
Like, it was so quick. You would just be like, I'm just gonna yell at you, and you just strike, and you'd have to have a real good relationship with the stunt riders because they would just hit you, and then in between takes is when you got to refine your choreography.
Yeah, right.
That was goodness. I've got a bruise on my head.
Don't do that this time.
So there was a lot of training outside, I guess, in working with horses and learning how to fight around them without spooking them. And we're very familiar, obviously, with the other stunt performers and riders, so you know who you like to work with, you know who's riding what horse. Oh, there were some horses, like, once you see them, you're like, I'm gonna be over there.
So sorry to interrupt that, guys. We actually had so much great Lord of the Rings content that we had to break it up into 2 parts. So part 2 is gonna be coming next week. So subscribe to make sure that you don't miss that, and I'll see you later.